We've put together this major report on women's voice and agency very much as a way of advancing the agenda which was laid out in the World Development Report 2012, which took a multidimensional approach. So it looked at economic opportunities, it looked at education and health, but it also recognised that voice and agency, and that's about the capability of women and girls to make decisions that affect their lives, is the area where there had been the least progress over time, and indeed the one where we knew least about what was going on. So that was a real gap, I think, both in terms of knowledge but also in terms of results on the ground. There's a lot of momentum again in this area. So for example, just last year at the United Nations there was an agreement on 12 core indicators for violence against women. So this is all the governments in the world agreeing we should be collecting this data, which I think is a major step forward and I think a good foundation to be moving ahead. There's a lot of interest and a lot more momentum now. So traditionally the bank had not been very much involved in these areas, but just in the last year or so we've done about a dozen new projects. Traditionally have been more in the post-conflict context, but now as well in middle-income countries like Brazil, in Colombia, as well as in Honduras. There are programs which are both supporting legislative reform, supporting the implementation of legislation that's already on the books, as well as in the design of kind of urban spaces, transport systems to increase women's safety. So it's a broad agenda. I think it's one that we're just beginning to explore, but I think one of the important messages of the report is the role of multi-sectoral programs and the need for long-term approaches, that there's no quick fixes. And so a logical implication of that is that it's one where I think agencies like the bank can play a role, because we can in principle do the multi-sectoral programs, and in principle we're there for the long term as well.